Timmy yawned and stretched. It was morning. He could smell pancakes, but something else tickled his nose. It smelled sweet, like jelly beans. Suddenly, Jimmy leaped onto Timmy's bed. He barked and wagged his tail excitedly. He had something important to show Timmy. Jimmy tugged at Timmy's pyjamas and pulled him towards the window. "Whoa, boy," Timmy chuckled. Jimmy was strong. Outside, the sky shimmered with 1,000 colours. A giant glowing jelly bean hung in the sky. It was the legendary Jellybean Moon. "The Jellybean Moon!" Timmy gasped. "Legend said it appeared only once every 100 years, and it could grant one wish." Jimmy barked and spun in a circle. He was ready for an adventure. Timmy was too. He knew just where to go. They raced out of the house and into the woods. Soon they reached a clearing filled with giant jelly beans. It was the Jellybean Forest. The jelly beans shimmered in every colour imaginable. Red, blue, green, even purple with polka dots. It was like a dream. Suddenly, a little creature made entirely of jelly beans hopped in front of them. It was a sight to behold with its vibrant colours and playful demeanour. The creature seemed to be made of every candy imaginable, and it bounced around with an infectious energy. It had gummy worm arms and licorice shoelaces. How funny! Its eyes were made of chocolate drops, and its smile was a row of tiny marshmallows. The creature was a walking, talking candy dream. "Welcome," the jellybean creature chirped. Its voice was sweet and melodic, like a song made of sugar. The children couldn't help but smile at the friendly greeting. "To reach the Jellybean Moon, you must solve my riddle," the creature announced with a twinkle in its eye. The children leaned in, eager to hear the challenge. "What has no voice but can still speak to you?" The riddle was puzzling, and the children exchanged confused glances. They knew they had to think hard to solve it. Timmy scratched his head. That was a tough one. He thought about all the things that could communicate without a voice. He looked around the Jellybean Forest for clues. The forest was filled with candy trees and sweet-smelling flowers, but nothing seemed to answer the riddle. Jimmy tilted his head, equally puzzled. He tried to think of all the silent things that could still convey a message. Then Timmy saw it. A colourful sign pointing the way through the forest. "A sign!" Timmy shouted. "Signs don't have voices, but they can still tell you where to go." The jellybean creature smiled. "That's right!" It clapped its gummy worm hands in delight. "You have solved the riddle. Now you may continue your journey to the Jellybean Moon." Section 4. A Wish Upon the Moon. The jellybean creature led them through a secret path, winding through enchanted forests and over sparkling streams. The path was hidden from the world, known only to those with the purest of hearts. Soon they stood at the foot of a giant beanstalk made of, you guessed it, jelly beans. The beanstalk shimmered in the moonlight, its colours vibrant and inviting. They climbed and climbed higher and higher, their excitement growing with each step. The beanstalk seemed endless, reaching up into the starry sky. Finally, after what felt like hours, they reached the top. And there it was, closer than ever, the Jellybean Moon. It hung in the sky, a giant orb of sweetness, casting a magical glow over everything. Timmy closed his eyes and made his wish. He didn't wish for candy or toys. Instead, he wished for their adventures to get even weirder. He wanted more excitement, more surprises and more magic. He wanted their journey to be filled with the unexpected, to be a story they would never forget. As soon as he wished, the Jellybean Moon began to shake. It rumbled and glowed, brighter and brighter. This was not part of the legend. The moon's light grew so intense that it seemed to envelop them, and they felt a strange sensation, as if they were being lifted off the ground. What new adventures awaited them now? Only time would tell. Section 5, Candy Chaos. The Jellybean Moon exploded, but instead of fire and smoke, it rained candy. Gumballs, lollipops and chocolate coins fell from the sky. Jimmy barked happily and chased after flying jelly beans. Timmy laughed. His wish had come true. Their adventure was definitely weirder now. But then a shadow fell upon them. A deep voice boomed, "Who dares disturb the Jellybean Moon?" This wasn't good. Timmy and Jimmy looked up. A giant dragon made entirely of chocolate stood before them, and it did not look happy. This was a disaster. Section 6. The Chocolate Dragon. The chocolate dragon roared, its voice echoing through the candy-coated hills and valleys. Its scales glistened like dark chocolate, and its eyes burned with a fiery caramel glow. An army of gingerbread men marched behind it, armed with candy cane swords that sparkled in the sunlight. Their buttons were made of gumdrops, and their eyes were tiny chocolate chips. They moved in perfect unison, a formidable force in this sugary land. This was a real problem. But Timmy wasn't scared. He had faced many challenges before, and he knew that bravery and a little bit of creativity could solve almost anything. He had an idea. He grabbed a handful of leftover Jellybean Moon dust from his pocket. This dust was special, collected from their last adventure on the Jellybean Moon, and it shimmered with a magical glow. It shimmered with magic. He tossed the dust at the chocolate dragon and shouted, "Turn into something silly!" His voice was filled with hope and determination. The dust sparkled, and it worked. The air around the dragon began to shimmer and twist, the magic taking hold. The chocolate dragon transformed into a giant gummy bear. Its once fierce roar turned into a playful giggle, and its caramel eyes softened into a friendly gaze. The gingerbread men turned into fluffy marshmallows. They bounced around, their candy cane swords now harmless sticks of peppermint. The magic was amazing. Timmy and Jimmy made friends with the gummy bear and marshmallows. They laughed and played, their new friends joining in the fun. They all laughed and played under the shimmering candy sky. The sky was a swirl of cotton candy clouds and rainbow sprinkles, making the whole scene feel like a dream. "This is the best adventure ever!" Timmy shouted, throwing a marshmallow in the air. The marshmallow soared high, catching the light and sparkling like a tiny star. Jimmy barked in agreement, catching the marshmallow in his mouth. He wagged his tail happily, enjoying the sweet treat. The Jellybean Moon might have been gone, but Timmy and Jimmy knew their adventures were just beginning. They looked at each other with excitement, ready for whatever came next. They couldn't wait to see what weird and wonderful things happened next. The world was full of magic and mystery, and they were eager to explore it all.